This is Justin Orndorff with Baseball Rebellion, and you're looking here at Eddie's first initial evaluation video as he came into the I.T.S baseball building. And one of the first things I really liked about Eddie was he had no prior pitching instruction, and the movements that you're seeing here is just him starting to kind of move into a pitching motion of what he feels most comfortable with. And I really like the way that his arms break here. Is very old school, and you don't see many young kids doing this anymore. But Eddie is a kid with a very calm demeanor, very kind of easygoing kid who doesn't seem like much bothers him. And this move here really kind of signifies Eddie when he first came into the building and how he approaches his pitch and delivery. And as he starts to kind of move into here in his knee lift, you'll start to see in his mind, in terms of generating force and power, you can see he's trying to use his lower body here. But one thing that starts to happen is he ends up getting too downward here on his back leg, and he ends up kind of going downwards into the mound more than he needs to, and really sitting on his back leg. But the biggest problem that occurred in Eddie's initial evaluation was just how far his arm got out in the back, and really started to get to the limit of where his arm would travel and really what his shoulder can handle. So the extreme position that you see here is something that was addressed in his evaluation and was our immediate course of action as we started his training program. And this position here that you see forced his shoulders into a more downward angle, and as he approached his rotation here at foot strike, you'll really see his elbow and his arm kind of come outside the body, and his forces start to get away from him. You can see how his head and spine are pulling off the ball here, and he's getting to a really low 3/4 slot. And as he's doing this, there's not much stability here within his lower half. As you can see, his knee kind of buckle, and his back foot is already off the ground before his ball comes out of his hand. All right, we're going to kind of fast forward here to the side view to kind of illustrate a couple other points. Here's the looseness again with Eddie, and as he moves into his lift, here you can really see how the back knee goes down over his foot, and he loses a lot of mass and momentum that he could generate into his pitching motion. There's the arm in the back going to that extreme position, really getting far behind his back. And as he moved, if we see here when his front foot is making contact, just how far his head and his spine were getting forward, and his arm, particularly his elbow and hand, are really left behind and kind of dragged through the acceleration process. Now Eddie makes a great attempt to come back into his body and bring everything back in of the deceleration process, but you'll notice he's up on his toe, and there's not much stability going on within his core and his front leg there. Okay, so what you're seeing is a very young thrower, a sixth grader at the time who is very long and wiry, and his musculature hasn't caught up with his frame. And you're seeing a movement here that we needed to initially focus on and really prevent his arm from getting too far behind his back, to prevent him from becoming into vulnerable positions as he accelerates. So as Eddie first came in, he was in a really unhealthy position as he came out of his glove, and this was really my immediate course of action and how we approached Eddie's initial training phase. This is Justin Orndorff with Baseball Rebellion. Thanks for listening.